Coming up, Jonathan and Todd use Rebreathers to explore the World War II wrecks of Chuuk and discover some amazing artifacts. Welcome to Jonathan Bird's Blue World.
Divers love shipwrecks. Not only are they visually stunning and fun to explore, but they often contain artifacts, making them time capsules of history preserved in a watery grave. And only divers have access to these slowly decaying marine museums. Todd, Wes, and I have traveled halfway across the planet to visit the world's most famous wreck diving location. Located in a remote part of the Pacific, Truk Atoll, now known as Chuuk, served as an important base for Japanese naval forces and supplies during World War II. The large protected lagoon provided safe anchorage for a whole fleet of ships. In early 1944, the United States launched Operation Hailstone, a siege of Chuuk to remove the Japanese occupation. Over a 3-day battle, the U.S. Navy sank 10 Japanese warships and 30 supply ships. They also hit the island ground facilities and aircraft before they could even take off. The attack created the largest single collection of sunken ships in the world. "27 years later, in 1971, legendary French underwater explorer and filmmaker Jacques Cousteau released a documentary called Lagoon of Lost Ships about the wrecks of Chuuk, and put it on the bucket list of every scuba diver for years to come.
Truk, a tropical atoll on the eastern tip of the Caroline Islands. Its lagoon a burial ground for a vast fleet of ships.
Today, more than 80 years after the Battle of Operation Hailstone, Chuuk still maintains legendary status as the world's top wreck diving destination. The Truk Odyssey liveaboard dive boat will be our luxury floating hotel for the week, and we can't wait to get started.
All right, guys, so the way we'll do this dive is drop off the back of Odyssey down the S&B line. We'll put us roughly on top of the companionway, which is about halfway through the midship superstructure here.
We begin with a dive briefing from Hunter Viverito, our dive master for the whole week.
There is a hole in the floor that's below us.
Since we're diving with Rebreathers, we have a little prep to do filling sorb. Hunter is ready. Todd and I, well, we're getting there. Sidewinders are complicated. Dive Master Colin Evans gives us a hand with the process.
Ready to rock.
Finally, it's time to hit the water. I like to use the cool diver elevator because then I can go in with my camera at the ready. The Heian Maru lies just under the Odyssey, and we follow Hunter towards the stern. The Heian was built in 1930 as a luxury passenger vessel. Her most common route was Yokohama to Seattle. But the Heian was requisitioned by the Imperial Japanese Navy for use in the war as a submarine tender. During Operation Hailstone, The Heian Maru was struck by 4 bombs and sank with a loss of 18 lives. Holger Boos produced this incredible 3D rendering showing how the wreck is lying on her side. This massive 535-foot-long ship, the largest in Chuuk, cannot be seen in one dive. Fortunately for us, Hunter is an expert on this wreck, so he takes us straight to some of the most interesting stuff. We drop down into a gangway where Hunter points out spare periscopes. Since the Heian Maru was a submarine tender, much of the stuff on the wreck is related to submarines. We follow Hunter down the gangway until we reach a door. Of course, since the wreck is on its side, we have to swim straight down to go through a door on the wall. We end up at the entrance to the engine room. Hunter leads the way in. After navigating our way around sideways stairs and obstacles, Hunter points out a solitary human skull. It's a sobering reminder that this wreck is a war grave. 18 sailors lost their lives when this ship went down. These remains must never be disturbed. We leave the sailor in peace and push further into the engine room. Carefully, because the silt in here is thick and easy to disturb. We move slowly to prevent silting the place up. Hunter likes to stay up by the ceiling to keep his fins away from that silty floor. He points out a telegraph, its glass clouded by internal corrosion, and keeps going under a disorienting sideways staircase. When our minds play tricks, we remember that the bubbles always go up. Next, Hunter points out an electrical panel. I have no idea what it is, but it looks cool. We definitely would not be this far into the wreck without Hunter leading the way, because this place is confusing. We find a light bulb perfectly intact within a rusty light fixture. We continue past machinery and fallen equipment. There are gauges and hoses. We swim above a gigantic engine at our deepest point in the dive, 96 feet. A fallen fire extinguisher, next to a jar of who knows what. The clock is ticking, so we turn and head out of the engine room because Hunter has more to show us. We follow him towards the stern. It's a bit of a swim on such a large wreck. Finally, we reach the 5th cargo hold entrance on the floor of the deck, and we swim through it like it's a door on a wall. Inside, Hunter points out a battery made up of 26 individual wet cells, all wired together in series. Above it, a perfectly preserved light bulb. The filament inside looks unbroken. It's astonishing to me that a delicate light bulb could survive on a ship sunk by bombs. Next, Hunter points out one of the greatest artifacts in all of Chuuk Lagoon. A perfectly preserved medical kit, complete with ampules of medicine. I take my time getting some cool shots of the medical kit, but Hunter still has more to show us. So we follow him back out into the blue and keep going. We head back inside in a very confusing room. The floor is the right side, the ceiling is the left side. Hunter is heading down a staircase and we follow. There we find the urinals of a bathroom, or what they call a head on a boat. The perspective is weird because they're sideways. With 10 minutes of deco accumulated, it's time to start making our way back to the surface. On top of the wreck, coral grows happily, providing a nice home for lots of reef fish. Todd and I spend some time goofing around while we decompress. And I even have time to take a few calls.
Hello? What? Yes, sir. Don't run late? Oh, that's not fun.
With no time to waste, we pop up to the hang line and finish our decompression.
By the end of the week, I'm going to be good at this.
Wes is the guitarist for rock band Vertical Horizon and an avid diver who joined us as a cameraman for this adventure. The next morning, Wes is joining us for the first half of our dive to the Fujikawa Maru. The Fujikawa is shallow enough that we can see the top of the masts from the surface.
Oh yeah. Oh, thank you. All right, we got
Got 2 cameras. We've got a plan. We have
Right.
a solid plan, right, guys?
Set in stone.
Right.
Yeah, that's
With everyone in the water, we drop down to the wreck. A 132-meter-long cargo ship, the Fujikawa Maru was sunk during Operation Hailstone and sits upright on the sea floor at only 100 feet deep, slightly tilted to starboard. Today, the Fujikawa Maru is recognized by divers as one of the best wreck dives in the world, and we'll soon learn why. We all follow Hunter down into the forward hold, with Wes leading the charge. Inside, we discover the cargo for which the ship is most famous. The hold contains at least 9 disassembled Mitsubishi fighters, including the rare A5M Claude, which was the precursor to the A6M0. And this one here in the hold of the Fujikawa is the only known surviving example of the A5M Claude. Nearby are half a dozen Zero fighters. They were disassembled for transport and would have been reassembled on land, but alas, they were never unloaded from the ship before it sank. I hover over the cockpit of a Zero and can only imagine how tight and claustrophobic these planes must have been to fly in combat. There are parts strewn about the floor of the hold. A solitary battery. A propeller partially buried in silt. Next to that, a rear fuselage. Complete with tail. The fabric on the control surfaces long since rotted away by the sea. In every direction, we're surrounded by Zero fighters. It's an underwater museum. The A5M, called a Claude by the American flyers, has a distinctly different shape from a Zero. And it's hard to believe that the only surviving example in the whole world is right here in this shipwreck. After we've had a good look at the planes, Hunter grabs our attention and leads the way on to more adventure. We slip through a rusted-out bulkhead into the next cargo hold. Here, Hunter points out a few of his favorite artifacts. Crew uniforms. Nearby, a stash of spare propeller blades. Because Wes is diving a single tank, he doesn't have as much time on the bottom as the rest of us. Soon, he and Hunter depart the hold for a shallower section of the wreck. Todd and I have another look around to investigate the huge empty shells from the bow gun. They kept the empty shells so they could be reloaded into fresh ammunition. During wartime, all metal is in short supply. Soon we swim up out of the hold to have a look at the gun chambered for these massive rounds. Built in England in 1899, this gun was already old when the war broke out. And then we make our way back towards the mooring, where Wes and Hunter are doing a safety stop. Hunter demonstrates the telegraph that still looks like it would work just fine. Wes and Hunter depart, leaving us to spend a little more time exploring. Hunter told us we had to go check out the machine shop and try to find R2-D2. So we head back towards the stern to find it. It takes a while, but we finally find the entrance to the machine shop and swim inside. There's a lot of stuff we can easily recognize, like a huge metal lathe with its chuck and tool post covered in rust. There's a grinding wheel used for many tasks, especially sharpening bits for the lathe. On the ceiling, a set of pulleys that probably ran machines older than these. And in the corner, the most famous machine in the room, an air compressor known as R2-D2. I don't really see the resemblance since R2-D2 doesn't have two eyes, but it's a pretty cool looking piece of machinery in amazing condition for something that's been down here for 80 years. I find a staircase and drop down a deck. At least this ship is basically upright and the stairs go in the right direction, up and down, not left and right. I'm once again in an engine room. A broken light dangles from its wire. No wonder it's so dark in here. There are valves and gauges, and it's very spooky. I turn and head back up. We decide it's about time to start making our way back to the mooring. But along the way, we film some anemone fish. There's beautiful soft coral growing on the mast. And right below the dive boat, we can work our way up the mast and do our decompression with lots of stuff to see.
Oh.
There are more than 50 shipwrecks in Chuuk Lagoon. In a week of diving, we dove 13 of them, so it's going to take 5 episodes to highlight them all. Hey, it's a tough job, but someone has to do it. So stay tuned for more Blue World adventures diving the wrecks of Chuuk Lagoon. Hey everyone, check out the link in the description for a look at Holger Boos's website with 3D models of wrecks all over the world.